We have about 10 minutes left, and I just wanted to do a little bit of Q&A. If you guys have any questions for our panelists today, I think this is sort of a brand new area for a lot of us. It's an area of interest for some of us where we haven't really dipped our toe in the water yet, and for some of us we have dipped our toe in the water and we still have a lot of questions about what comes next. But I invite a round of Q&A now for anybody who's interested.
Hi, my name is Mike Taylor. I work in digital science. I have a lot of fun mucking around with Crossref's APIs and their other tools. One of the things that I really struggle with when I am enjoying the mucking around is getting hold of reliable metadata, particularly being able to point people at resources or index metadata that's being held on open access pages. I'm wondering the extent to which, you talked about MARC records, the extent to which you're going to be making your metadata available through JSON or Project Muse for people who are building applications around them.
Well, all Crossref metadata is available through that open API, and anybody can take it and choose to do with it various sort of forms and functions. The variability that you see is from the publisher metadata, right? So some publishers provide more metadata than others. That's basically the reason for that. But whether it's provided through JSTOR or Muse or anywhere else for that matter is really up to those third parties. So.
Well, you're the first person to ask that question, so I don't have an answer.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Metadata. Please make metadata
Please
available.
make it available. Okay.
It's really important for
Do you have?
people like me who like hacking around.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's.
I have another question that Frank can't answer, which is what do you make of that 237 MARC record download that you cited in the presentation?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it because.
Do you have another data point to compare? What should
Well, for the books program in general, librarians do download the MARC records for the books that they buy from us and in the DDA program, and it's very easy for them to do it. So, yeah, it's really hard to figure out.
So I'm tempted to see it as a failure, right? That the lack of kind of marketing to libraries.
That is possible, absolutely, yes. I mean, when we launched, we had some very nice comments back, and one of the comments we heard from half a dozen libraries was, oh, this is great because there is no good workflow for OA books. And now there is a workflow, which they would recognize and know how to do. It's just that not very many of them are doing it. So you're right, maybe it's that we have not marketed to them, although we have done a lot of marketing, but maybe it's not enough. The other comment that we heard, again, from half a dozen librarians, so therefore it's a trend, is this is good that JSTOR is doing this because we know there's a lot of crap. And if you guys are selecting it, we will trust that it is scholarly content of value. And fair enough. We are selecting the publishers we work with, and we know they're doing their job, so that's good. But yeah.
There does seem to be some mixed opinions on MARC records for open access, whether they should be presented on their own or mixed in with other kinds of content, and that's just probably some differences of opinion and workflows. I don't know if you hear anything about that.
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, Charles Wilkinson from the University of Michigan Press. One issue that we've been seeing with MARC records is that there's no field in MARC to say if something is open access.
Right.
I wondered if that's an issue you see opportunities to engage with, to solve from your positions of system power, as it were.
Well, OCLC did allow us to set up an OA collection. So in that sense, you're right. I mean, it's like we're half a loaf here. But they didn't know quite what to do with OA books per se. Onyx actually does have a field, so that was good. But yeah, we're still in transition.
Yeah, I was going to make the observation that Crossref also has the ability to embed the open access license or a license in the metadata. And it's a real shame to me that very few publishers, Elsevier an honourable exception, include that open access data.
I swear I did not plant him in the audience, but, yeah, we do encourage,
Yeah, I came because you were speaking.
we do encourage publishers to submit licensed metadata, but it's not, a machine-readable indicator, which I know is something that some people want, which gets to the question of how do you define open access content. But it is licensed information, but it does require somebody to take a look at that license and see what it says, basically. So.
Just to say on that, Mike, I mean, the machine-readable indicator is a crucial thing. I mean, so as you know, I mean, Mark does have a field for license. It just doesn't have a field that says this is open access or not. So I think the same issue seems to apply as well. Potentially.
I have a question for Wendy, actually. I think, and this is sort of a philosophical question, but one of the things that I think everybody who works for a publisher, book publisher, has experienced is the preoccupation with metadata that enhances discoverability in the retail ecosystem, which most of us are obsessed with for the most part. How do you envision, greater incorporation of the kinds of metadata that will make OA content more discoverable in the kinds
Yes and no. I think the basics are covered, but I still think there's a lot of areas such as abstracts, for example. So even in other books on the platform, trying to encourage the creation of abstracts has been a very difficult or a slow-moving process for Muse. And even though I come up with lovely quotes from Google that are saying, we don't change our algorithm based on abstracts, but that content that does have abstracts tends to be selected by the end user and things like that. So I'm hoping, because there is sort of this new flavor which encourages these types of discussions, that actually we're going to have better discussions about metadata for all types of content and not just OA, because it is back as a heavy topic. So.
Other questions? We are at time, 11:45. Thanks everybody for coming, and thank you to all of my panelists for participating today.